Hey guys, it's Minty here, and as some of you may know, the other week I released my House episode, where, of course, I spoke about the movie House. And a lot of you left comments in there. A lot of these comments were saying, yes, I really like House, but you know what? House 2's better. So, maybe you should make a video about that. No, seriously, I've got a lot of requests to do a video about House 2. So because I am not of the letting the viewers down variety, today I am going to do just that for you. House 2, the second story, or as I like to call it, House 2 and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Released in 1987, just 1 year after the original House. House 2 tells the story of Jesse, who moves into a creepy old mansion, which is a mansion that has been in his family throughout the generations. When Charlie, Jesse's oddball sidekick, turns up, the two decide to dig up Jesse's great-grandfather in order to find a crystal skull that he has been buried with, only to discover that the mystical power of the skull has kept Gramps alive. However, evil dark forces are also after the skull, namely a rival evil cowboy called Slim Razor. So the big question is House 2 really better than House 1? Is this indeed one of those rare occasions where a sequel is actually better than its original? Well, today let's find out as we look into 10 amazing facts about House 2. But one thing I will say is that this film is batshit insane, as it has zombie cowboys, this weird giant rat creature, dinosaurs, time travel, parallel dimensions, an electrician who carries a sword with him, a caterpillar dog, and whatever the hell this is meant to be. So let's explore what is undoubtedly the most bizarre haunted house movie ever, House 2. Number 10, it's not a sequel. Oh yeah, don't be fooled guys. Despite the fact that House 2 is called House 2 the Second Story, this is no second part of anything, as this has absolutely nothing to do with the original. No mention of the original or nothing. There is no Roger Cobb, no Big Ben, and it's not even the same house. The movies don't even feel remotely similar. Despite the fact that I called it the most bizarre haunted house movie ever in the intro, House 2 doesn't even feel like a haunted house movie, not even a horror movie for that matter. It's much more of a fun adventure movie, about jumping through dimensional time portals. In fact, I would say this movie has more of a Time Bandits feel than it does the original House. It really should have been its own movie, and not attached itself to the House name. Because, yeah, this clearly isn't a sequel of any description. Number 9, the movie stars a villain from Fright Night.
Where's my wife and family? What if I die here? Who'll be my role model?
So in House 2, we meet secondary protagonist Charlie, Jesse's goofy yet lovable best friend. In fact, this guy is so nice, he takes the zombie-looking cowboy, Gramps, out to get drunk in order to cheer him up. And he always seems to be there at Jesse's aid. In other words, this would be a pretty cool bestie to have by your side when going on adventures. Well, the actor who played Charlie, Jonathan Stark's other well-known role is not so warm and lovable, as he played Billy Cole from Fright Night. Remember that creepy undead servant to the main vampire, Jerry Dandridge? Yeah, him. I thought he was great in that, but I gotta admit, I like him more as a lovable goof. And is it just me, or does Ari Gross, who played the lead protagonist Jesse, kind of look like Julian Lennon? He does, right? Maybe it's just me. Number 8. The movie also stars Bill Maher, which is just weird. Yep, if the film wasn't random enough, what with the Crystal Skull, Aztec temples, and Caterpillar Dog, Bill Maher is also in this masterpiece of WTF. These days, Maher may be well known for being a political commentator, TV host discussing many controversial hot topics of the moment, but back in 1987, he played a douchebag with big hair in House 2, as he played the boss of Jesse's girlfriend, who turns up at a Halloween party being thrown in the house, but isn't the least bit amused with Jesse's oddball shenanigans, and even ends up leaving with both Jesse and Charlie's girlfriends. Wow, what a prick. Number 7. House 2's rocky relationship with Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes has become something of a powerful and controversial entity these days, with lovers of films awaiting to see what a particular film they are waiting to see will score on the website, and if it's low, it usually ends in anger and theories about corruption and even payoffs. Some studios have even requested not having the Rotten Tomatoes score published on their movies till after their releases, as a Rotten Tomatoes score could affect a movie's box office performance. In fact, Rotten Tomatoes is such an important part of modern cinematic landscape. If a movie gets a fresh certificate, it's now acknowledged on the DVD and Blu-ray cover of said movie. Regardless, it seems that Rotten Tomatoes doesn't like House 2 very much. For a long while, the movie had a score of 0. Yeah, a whopping 0. I mean, okay, House 2 isn't Lawrence of Arabia, but is it really that bad? Finally, in recent years, it has managed to gain 10%, with a 48% fan approval rating. But the thing is, fans really love this movie and often hold it in high regard, and even claim that they like it better than the original. Heck, just check out the comments section in the video of my first House episode. So I suppose that does somewhat support the theory that Rotten Tomatoes speaks more towards snooty critics than it does the people. Once again, somewhat. However, I don't think that House 2 deserved its long-running 0%. Number 6. Marvel released a comic book adaptation. We never took them seriously. So as I have already mentioned in the first House episode, the comic book champions Marvel got to work on creating a House 2 comic book adaptation. And giving the fun, adventurous and slapstick feel of House 2, it seems fitting for a comic book version to be made. However, one thing I didn't mention in the other House episode was the fact that a lot of people believe that the House 2 comic book was written by none other than the Karate Kid himself, as Ralph Macchio is credited as writing the comic, which has led people to believe that Macchio has left his days of wax on, wax off, and is now a comic book writer. And although the idea of the House 2 comic being written by Daniel San himself may sound exciting, the Ralph Macchio who wrote the comic is a different Ralph Macchio. Yep, he just so happens to have the same name as an other well-known Ralph Macchio. Number 5. Royal Dano had heart surgery shortly before filming.
Yes, it's true.
Royal Dano played Gramps, an elderly cowboy who has survived throughout the ages thanks to the supernatural powers of the Crystal Skull. And it would seem fitting that Dano would play a supernatural cowboy from the Old West, as Dano has had a long career starring in westerns, including Far Country with James Stewart, Cahill with John Wayne, and The Outlaw Josie Wales with Clint Eastwood. However, shortly before filming, Dano had had heart surgery, and due to this he was uninsurable. But nevertheless, the production still decided to go with him, which I'm glad they did, as he played the part very sympathetically with great heart, which is a strange thing to say about a character who looks like a zombie cowboy. And it seems that Dano got a taste of fun, cheesy horror movies, as after House 2, he would go on to star in Ghoulies, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and Space Invaders. Sadly though, he passed away in 1994. Also, I can't help but feel like the character of Gramps inspired the character of the Judge from The Frighteners, who is also a tired, worn-out cowboy who has been decaying throughout the ages. Number 4. The story behind the house used in House 2. The house used in House 2 looks drastically different from the house seen in the first movie, as this time around it basically looks like a mansion. In real life, the house is called the Stimson House and is located in California and was built in 1891 as it was the home of Chicago business financier Thomas Douglas Stimson. It is popular opinion that the house was also seen in the movie 13 Ghosts, but I haven't found any evidence to back that claim up. And by 13 Ghosts, I don't mean the 2001 film, I mean the 1960 original. Yes, for all of you that didn't know that the 2001 movie 13 Ghosts is in fact a remake. I just know I'm gonna get people in the comment section going, I knew it was, f*** you! The house is located at South Figueroa Street in Los Angeles, and it's not hard to see why the house would get chosen as an exterior location for a haunted house movie, as it does look like a creepy old mansion with many souls. Number 3, Kane Hodder returns. As I mentioned in the first House episode, the actor who plays Jason Voorhees 4 times, Kane Hodder, was that movie's stunt coordinator. Well, he actually shows up in the flesh here, as in the Halloween party scene, he is the guy in the gorilla costume who gets punched in the face by an Aztec guard. But this isn't the last time we would see Hodder turn up in the series either, as he played the demonic vomiting pizza in House 4. Yeah, let's talk about that scene for a second. House 4 isn't a good movie on the best of days, but there is one WTF moment that really stands out to me that just comes out of nowhere when the main protagonist and her daughter decide to order pizza, and later when the pizza man arrives, he does a complete song number called I'm Ya Pizza Man.
I'm your pizza man, and I'm delivering your favorite pizza pie. I'm your pizza man.
It's weird and doesn't add to the story or anything, it's just there. I mean, look at the other actors' faces. I don't even think they were acting. I think this guy just walked in on the set and decided to slip into song, and they just filmed him. I mean, nothing else can explain this joyfully weird, insane moment.
So the next time you are hungry for a pizza in a pan, don't forget to call your favorite pizza man. $12.50, please.
Which, ironically, probably went on to be the most iconic and remembered part of House 4. Seriously though, I don't know why, but I love the Pizza Man song. I wish more pizza delivery people would sing it when I order a pizza. Number 2, House 2 is family friendly. Yeah, as I mentioned, House 2 doesn't really feel like a horror movie, and is definitely not as horrific as the first one. It feels like a fun film that kids can go and see, hence the fact that the movie got a PG-13 rating, unlike the original House which had an R rating. House 2 is the only entry in the House film series to have the PG-13 rating, and one of a few movies in the horror genre to do so. House 2 was greatly watered down from its predecessor. Let's just say there were no demons getting decapitated this time round. However, when the third entry, House 3 Horror Show, came out, it was back to the R rating as usual. Number 1, the original House writer returns. Ethan Wiley had written the original House movie and was asked to provide a script for House 2 and only had 2 weeks to write the script, to which he came up with his Odyssey of Bizarre, conjuring up a story about dinosaurs and crystal skulls and rotting cowboys. At least he went into a different direction and just didn't rehash the first movie, which does keep House 2 feeling fresh, if not slightly baffling to those who watch this movie wondering what happened to Roger Cobb. Wiley also directed the movie too, so either way, House 2 was definitely his baby. So there you guys go, that was the episode about House 2 that you all wanted to see. You all asked for it, and I delivered. And I hope that I managed to entertain. Either way, House 2, although isn't a masterpiece, does what a sequel should do. It changes things up a bit, it tries new things, and it's brave enough to explore new directions. For a sequel, it doesn't feel stale and it feels as inventive as the first one. even though it should have been released under a different title, that of House 2. Anyway, I'm Minty, and this is actually a much better Crystal Skull movie than the other Crystal Skull movie that shall not be named. See ya!